What's up YouTube? Jeff back again here from High on Android, dopetechdaily.com, and today is a huge day. Today is Nexus day for me. I got my Nexus 5X and my Nexus 6P. Both of them came today with FedEx. I ordered them at the same time, so unfortunately Google was shipping 5X orders last week, but since I ordered mine on the same ticket as the 6P, they said they wouldn't ship them until they were both ready. So that's a word of advice if you order Google products in the future from the Google store. Make sure that if you want to get your products as soon as they're available, that you order them on separate tickets. I was a little worried about them selling out, so I just grabbed the ones I wanted, added them to my cart, and checked out as quickly as possible. So thankfully, I was able to get both of the devices in at the same time today. And since I didn't really want to make a video for separate video for each one, I don't have a lot of time. I try to make YouTube videos off as I can, but this isn't my main job. I got a lot of other jobs that I do, including research and teaching at the university. I thought I'd do both at the same time. So this is sort of a warning. If you're only interested in the 5X, there's going to be an outline down below in the description. You can check it out, and you can skip to the parts that are about the 5X. If you're only interested in the 6P, you can skip to the parts about the 6P. They'll be clearly labeled below in the description. If you're interested in both of the phones, strap in, go ahead and get ready for probably a pretty long video. I don't know, I'll try not to make it too long, but you guys know how I do it. Let's go ahead and get into both. So it only makes sense. Let's start with the smaller of the two devices. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 6P here out of the frame. So let's bring in the Nexus 5X. See here the packaging, you guys have probably seen it. There's a picture of the device. You guys can see that I got the ice color. I wanted to try something a little different. So we got a little sleeve here. Let's go ahead and remove the sleeve, the packaging, and then we can see again we got a little X there. Just gonna set this sleeve down. Got a little X on the front. We got some tape here on the back. Let me go ahead and get my multi-tool. Let's see how many tries it takes me to get the knife. Only took me 2 tries this time. So no tape on that side. Got a little tape right here. All right, and let's slide it out. And so we're greeted with another X. We got X's everywhere. We got X's on the sleeve, on the box itself, and right here on the front. And then this shows us the contents. You can see here we've got our phone, of course. Of course, you've got your power brick, your USB-C type cable. Over here, of course, shows us where the power button is and the SIM tray as well. Just going to set that to the side. And you can see here, we've got our device. So I'll set that to the side for a second. See what else we get inside. We get a little Google Play Music. 90 days on us. So this is, of course, probably if you don't already have Google Play. Let me check the terms and conditions. It says here, new customers only. That's always the case. So I already have Google Play Music. So if anybody, any of my subscribers, if you guys want this 90 days Google Play Music for free, hit me up in the comments. I'll be happy to send this your way if possible. I don't know if I can. Actually, there's no code on here. So I'll see. If there's a way for me to transfer this, I will, because I can't use it. Throw that out of the way. In the past, there's been a way, so if possible, be happy to do that. We've got a SIM ejector tool. I've got a whole bunch of those, of course. And then there's probably some paperwork in here. Yeah, we've got the safety and warranty guides and all of this other stuff in various languages. I don't care about any of that, so I'll go ahead and put that back in the packaging. And, of course, we've got an LG branded. This is an LG made device, so we've got an LG branded power brick right here, as you can see. And take the plastic off. And we should have our USB-C cable here. Now, one thing to note about the Nexus 5X, a lot of other people who've unboxed this have noticed this. There is no adapter in here. So you're going to be stuck with this USB-C. You see you've got, check out, get both ends there in the frame. You can see you've got your USB-C to USB-C. If you want to plug this into your computer, you're going to need an adapter. Now, when we do the Nexus 6P, you guys will see Google included a small adapter cable in there, so you should be able to use that for the 6P. All right, so we've got our cable, pretty standard fare here. Let's go ahead and get the stuff out of the frame here that we've taken out of the box. I'll go ahead and set the box out of the way. Don't really need any of that right now. And let's get into the actual device itself. So let me just take the plastic off. And let's get a look at this color. I'm pretty excited to check out this ice blue color. I ordered the ice blue color mainly because I wanted to try something a little different. This plastic's sort of getting everywhere. Let me just throw that out of the way. So Here's the ice blue color. You guys can see. See if I can get a really good, nice shot of it. You can see the ice blue color is really, really pretty, actually, in my opinion. It's sort of a subtle light sky blue. It doesn't look quite as greenish blue as it does in the picture. So when I saw the picture, I thought it was a really greenish blue color, but it doesn't really look that way. And look at this. Google was nice enough, or LG was nice enough, to make this thing easy to peel off. If you guys remember the Note 5 when I unboxed it, the sticky stuff got everywhere. So I'm glad they did that. So overall, this device feels incredibly light. So as you may know, unlike the Nexus 6P, here we have sort of a plastic back here, very similar to the Nexus 5, which people were such huge fans of, except now we got the fingerprint scanner and this camera bump here, which you guys can see sort of protruding on the back. Some people aren't fans of that. Overall, though, the matte feel in the hand feels really, really good. A lot of people commented that the phone feels a little cheap. Now it is a plastic build, so of course it's not going to feel nearly as premium as maybe your Note 5, etc. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to go ahead and fire up this phone, and I'm going to go through the setup process, put my SIM card in here. I'm going to show you guys a few things with Marshmallow on the phone, and then we'll come back and take a look at a few of the features of Marshmallow, and then we will get into the Nexus 6P as well. But so far I really like the feel of the phone. It doesn't feel super cheap to me. I mean, I knew it's a plastic phone. Maybe it doesn't have as solid of a feel. This maybe feels a little more hollow or maybe too thin. Maybe that's what people were commenting on. It definitely doesn't feel maybe as solid through, if you know what I mean, in terms of its thickness and its back, like the original Nexus 5. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my SIM card in here from Verizon, boot it up. We'll go ahead and take a look at a few features of Marshmallow for those of you who haven't seen them, and also just sort of take a quick look at the setup. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, YouTube, I went ahead and set up my SIM card and set up my Wi-Fi network, and now we're back and we're going to go ahead and set up the fingerprint. So I thought I'd give you guys a look at the setup process for the fingerprint on the Nexus 5X here. So it says here, set up my fingerprint. So it says Nexus Imprint uses your fingerprint to wake and unlock the phone. Of course, very similar to this, same fingerprint we've seen before on Samsung iPhone, but now it's called Nexus Imprint. It's built into Android 6.0 Marshmallow, and of course now the fingerprint scanner is right here on the back. So let's go ahead and set it up. So set up your backup screen lock method, add your fingerprint. So I'll go ahead and choose a pattern. Require pattern to start device, no thanks. And I'll just choose an easy pattern for now. And then you guys can steal my phone, but not really. I'm going to go back and change it later. So now it says show all notification content. That's fine with me. So I find the sensor here, tap my finger, and it's telling me to locate it. And now I can go ahead and tap my finger, and I can keep getting the sensor accurate. It says fingerprint added. So if you notice one thing about this, it was much, much quicker to add a fingerprint on here than it was to add it on the Samsung Note 5. Even on the iPhone, it takes longer to add it. So I'm not going to add another one just yet. I'm going to get in here and let's take a look at Marshmallow. One other thing that's kind of weird is it asked me earlier if I wanted to use NFC to set up as a new device, and now it's asking me if I want to set up a new device or transfer over. By the way, you guys can get a look there at all of my Android phones I'm currently using. Anyway, let's go through, click next, get Google Now. I'm definitely in on that. And restoring, oh, there we go. I was going to say, what's it restoring? I said I don't want to restore from a backup. All right, so here's the Nexus 5X home screen in Marshmallow. You can see here we've just got stock Google apps for the most part. This is stock Android. You can see you've got Android Pay in there, which you can use Nexus Imprint with by default. I don't want to mention, all the features. I will link a video in the description from Max or Shane from High on Android. They did a rundown of the Marshmallow features, so if you guys want to check that out, you can. I just want to mention a few things. We go in here, you can see we're running 6.0, of course. One couple of things that are useful, I think, in 6.0, you now can look at your memory. So if you've been running this on the Nexus 6, get that breakdown. And then the other things that are really useful, of course, are things that you might not necessarily see. The overall UI looks pretty similar to Lollipop. There's a few things that are new. One of those, of course, is up here, your System UI Tuner. So we can go in and you can enable your System UI Tuner up there in the top. And then also the other thing which you can do on here is use Google Now on Tap. So let's just see if we can show that really quick. That's one of the other big features. Just restore my bookmarks. Okay. So let's go to maybe a movie. I don't know what movie is currently out that is interesting. Let's say The Last Witch Hunter, the Vin Diesel movie. So The Last, Witch Hunter. So I'll go there and click on that. And then maybe if we go to the IMDb page and let's see if we can get some information. First of all, we're going to get some ads. I'm going to continue to the site. I'll hold down the key here and see if we can get some information. Want help with the screen, we got to turn it on. So we turn it on and let's see what it finds for us. Yeah, so you can see there, we can see the trailer on YouTube. We can get news, we can get images. So we can go to news and then it'll give us some information, some news about the movie. You can get some other articles if you want to read some other articles, etc. So Google Now on Tap is one of the big features in Marshmallow. One of the most useful things, I think. I've been running it on the Nexus 6 for a while. The other things that are sort of behind the scenes, like doze mode, which is going to help you get much better battery life when you're letting the phone just sit. That's something that's behind the scenes. And then also just lots of other performance tweaks, etc. There's a lot of really great features in Marshmallow, but again, they're all really mostly behind the scenes. Google Now on Tap is really the one that you're probably going to see the most sort of user-facing feature. The rest of them are really under the hood things that developers might care about. Again, the System UI tuner I mentioned, you can enable up there at the top where your system settings would be. So there's quite a few new things in here. Again, I'll drop a link below. You guys want to check out Max or Shane's video, and you can find out all the cool features of Marshmallow. I don't want to go through all of them in the video. So I just want to show you guys the experience. My overall impression of the screen right out of the box, the screen actually looks a little warm, which I don't necessarily love. It's got kind of a yellowish tint to it. Again, sort of the warmth of your screen, of course, is going to vary from device to device, but this one does look a little warm to me. Overall, the HD display looks good. I wanted to compare it to a few devices. The first one being the Sony Xperia Z5, which I have right here. I would say the Xperia Z5 screen, the overall quality looks a lot clearer, and also it's, I don't know, maybe I prefer the blue tint, but I don't think the video will do it any justice. But you can see the bluish tint is actually, I think it might do it some justice. This screen is just a little bit warmer, quite a bit warmer actually, than the bluer screen on the Xperia Z5. I also think it looks a little crisper. Both of these are, of course, full HD. You got 1080p displays on these. Let's just compare the size and a few of the other features of these two phones. So here you've got the Nexus 5X. You can see that the Nexus 5X is thinner. You can see the Nexus 5X is also, I don't know, they're about the same height actually. They're about the same height. And the Z5, they're also about the same width too. So the Nexus 5X is a little bit thinner, but otherwise they're pretty comparable size-wise. A few notable differences, of course, we've got the fingerprint scanner on the back. Let's actually test that for speed. And pattern required for additional security. That's weird. Let's see here. Let's see here. There we go. I don't know why that happened. Maybe the first time I used it. So it's pretty fast. The fingerprint scanner on here is on the side, which I found to be a little annoying. You can see here how quickly the Xperia Z5 is. But I think it's probably a little faster and a little better position on the Nexus 5X. And of course, the big difference is this is a $379 phone. This phone, if you import it from the UK, is about $700 US. You can find it on Amazon for like $650. But of course, I'm going to do a more in-depth comparison later. I just want to show you the sizes and a few differences. And then of course, the other phone that's of similar size, the Galayx S6. You can see the S6 is thinner. It's also shorter. And it's also, let's see, not quite as wide, I don't think. No, it's smaller all around. So the Nexus 5X is a bigger device. And of course, the big differences are fingerprint scanner is on the home key here. And also, this device is all metal, premium build. This is a plastic device, a lot cheaper. This phone was also, $700 at launch. This one's $379 or $429 for the 32 gig variant. All right, so one last thing I want to check really quick, which might be interesting to know for the other phone as well. You can see there one time the fingerprint did not recognize. So we'll see. I'll monitor that in the full review. Let's go in here and check out my overall amount of available storage. So you can see here we got a nice storage menu now in Marshmallow as well. You can see here I've got 678 megabytes used of 24.89 gigabytes. So we got 24.89 gigabytes out of the box. That's pretty good. The Xperia Z5 only had about 21 gigabytes if you go back and look at my video on that. So that's actually pretty good out of the box. I would expect a pretty similar thing for the 6P. This is the 32 gigabyte variant. All right, so that's my look at Marshmallow. So that's what it looks like on the 5X, just running through a few of the features, setting up Nexus Imprint. So next, let's go ahead and get into the Nexus 6P. If you guys have any questions about the 5X, feel free to leave them below in the comments and I'll try to answer those. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this out of the way and let's go ahead and get into the 6P now. So there's the 6P. Let's go ahead and get the unboxing knife here. And let's get the packaging open. So you can see here actually on this one, it's not a sleeve. So actually we can peel it off, but it's not a sleeve like the other one that just came off. So we can peel off the plastic here. And then this is more of like a plastic sleeve that opens up. The other one was a paper sleeve that we sort of tore right off. And then the packaging here is pretty similar. You can see here we're greeted with a P on the sleeve itself, but here it just sort of opens up and another P. We got the letter everywhere once again. We've got our little documentation that tells us where the SIM tray is, pretty similar to the last one. I won't go through all this again. We got a power brick. There's only one thing that's really different that I want to show. You've got a USB-C cable. Set the device outside here. Again, I don't know if this is transferable, but if it is and someone wants it, I'll try to give these away because I can't use it. Documentation again. And then the only thing that's really different, so I'm going to set this box to the side because it's the same stuff. The only thing that's really different inside the Nexus 6P box is you get this nice adapter that'll allow you to connect this to your computer. Or, in my case, I have Android Auto, so I'm going to need to use this if I want to connect my phone using USB-C to my Android Auto, which uses a regular USB cable. I can now stick that right in, and I'll be able to use my phone with Android Auto, my 6P. So if you have a Nexus 5X, you're going to want to buy one of these if you like to connect your phone to your computer, or if you want to use regular USB chargers. If you have a portable charger, you want to use it, you want to get one of these. Now this one's pretty short, so if you have a Nexus 6P, you still may want to grab a longer cable, a longer adapter. I'll drop some options below from Amazon if you guys want to grab one. All right, so put that out of the way too. And now let's look at the device itself. So now let's have a look at the Nexus 6P. So let me just get the plastic off again. Pretty similar to last time. Let's see here. There we go. Pull that right off. And you can see here the beautiful Nexus 6P. Once again, we got a little piece here. Oh, Huawei was not as nice as, it still comes off pretty easily. It didn't come off as easily. You can see it left a little mark, but this is metal as well. So you can see here the construction of the 6P, very nice. One thing that people have noticed that they don't necessarily like is this black bar, what people have called the hump. It protrudes out, very similar to the way the camera protrudes out. And just for comparison, you can see on the 5X, they both have sort of a protrusion for their camera. So some people have commented they don't necessarily like that. You can see it's all metal. So I've got the black version or the slate version here. And you can see here that on the front, we're greeted with a nice big display. You can see you've got front-facing speakers. Just like on the 5X, you can see you've got your SIM tray right there, which you can use the multi-tool to get that out. Up top here, you've got your headphone jack. Down at the bottom, of course, you got your USB-C port. Over here, power button, and then you've got your volume button, your volume rocker right there below. So overall, this thing feels super, super premium in the hand. I really like the feel of this phone. I think really quick, I want to give you guys some impressions of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and boot up this phone, and I'm not going to go through the setup because we already did that. I'm going to come back and I'll give you some impressions on the screen. We'll see if there's any yellowing that like it looked like on the 5X, and also do a quick comparison to a few of my other bigger phones. So I'll be right back as soon as I get this guy set up and we'll take a look. Welcome back, YouTube. I went ahead and set up my Nexus 6P, and it does appear that when you unlock with the fingerprint for the first time, it requires your pattern or your password just to make sure that everything is good. I want to go ahead and give you guys a few impressions. Of course, it's running the same exact software, so no need to go through the Marshmallow tidbits again. You got your Google Now on tap, System UI tuner, Doze mode, all the same great stuff. I did want to give you guys some impressions of the display. So let's just, of course, this is a Quad HD display and this is a 1080p display, so it's not really a very fair comparison. Gonna have to open this with the other one because I haven't set up another fingerprint. But let me just go in. You see here, I've got both of them up. I don't know if you guys can tell through the video, but you can see the display on the overall on the Nexus 5X. Mine at least has a yellowish tint where this Huawei display has a nice blue color. The Quad HD, of course, is going to look crisper, but I don't know, that's just a little... It's quite yellow, at least to me. I don't know if you guys can tell through the video. Just let me know. Of course, the brightness also has to do with that, so maybe we can go in here really quick and adjust the display brightness to be about the same level. So, I don't know, let's take this to mid brightness on each one. So that's the middle brightness. Let's just do a quick test. Obviously, they're not both going to have the same brightness level, but just turn the Marshmallow to both the same brightness or so. So you can kind of see the difference in the two display hues. They both look really crisp, but I will say the Nexus 5X doesn't look nearly as good compared to the Xperia Z5. Getting back to the 6P here, the 6P display actually looks fantastic. I love the resolution, super high Quad HD. The panel is really, really high quality. Not only is the color looking nice, you've got nice viewing angles. You can you can see as you tilt it. You can still see pretty well. The color reproduction seems pretty good. It's definitely not as saturated as the Samsung panel. So just to give you a comparison, I pulled up the same page on the Samsung panel. You can see here sort of the comparison. I will do some brightness testing. I ordered one of the brightness tools that Max uses to test the phones. I'll do that and I'll have a comparison of that as well. But you can see here, they're both beautiful displays. The blacks are a little bit blacker on the Samsung panel. They're well known for that. But overall, these two displays, it's really hard to pick a winner here. Of course, Samsung usually seems to come out on top, but at the end of the day, they optimize their displays for their hardware, obviously. And so I'll do some comparisons and we'll find out. But overall, very impressed with the display on the phone out of the box. Let me do a few size comparisons for you guys. Here is the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. You can see the Nexus 6P is a bit taller. These are both 5.7-inch phones. The Nexus 6P is also wider by quite a bit. It eclipses it. And overall, it's just a bigger phone. It's also a bit thicker, as you can see here. The Nexus 6P is also a bit thicker. And of course, the other difference is, of course, you've got the fingerprint scanner on the back here again, fingerprint scanner on the home button with the S6 Edge Plus. A few more comparisons. How about the Note 5? It's very similar to the... You're going to have the bunch of notifications coming in. Let me go ahead and turn the volume down there. So you can see here on the Note 5, very similar to the Edge Plus. The 6P is going to be taller. It's also a little bit thicker. Not a lot thicker. Actually, the Note 5 may be a little bit thicker because the Edge Plus is a little thinner because of the tapered edge on the front. And the 6P, yeah, once again, a little bit wider. So not a whole lot wider, but just a tiny little bit wider. And then the last comparison here, my Nexus 6, you guys already know, the Nexus 6 is bigger than this phone, not by quite a lot. I'll do a comparison later, but this is the Moto X Pure, another phone people are going to want to see, 5.7 inches. You can see the 6P is taller. The Moto X Pure, because of its curved back, is wider. And you can see that the 6P is also, thicker, not wider. And the 6P is a little bit wider, just like it was with the other two phones. Not by a lot, though. So overall, those are some comparisons to the other devices. This device feels super premium. Getting used to the camera hump is going to be something I have to get used to, but that's probably the case with everybody. So far, I really like this device. Fingerprint scanner seems to be super fast. The screen is super crisp. So the main thing, of course, I'll be looking at is the 12.3 megapixel camera on this phone. We'll see how good the quality is. The Nexus line has not been known for great camera quality. This thing has a huge 3450 milliamp hour battery, so I'll be testing out the battery life and see where we're at with that. Of course, just a real quick comparison of these two phones. If you're thinking about buying one or the other, these are really different phones. This is more of a mid-range, right at $379 price point for the lower model. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM. You can get up to 32 gigabytes of storage. It's also got the Snapdragon 808. They both have the same camera in them, so both of them have the 12.3 megapixel back shooter. And then of course on the front, the Nexus 6P has a larger 8 megapixel count on the front, as opposed to the 5 megapixel shooter that's on the Nexus 5X. And I did make one typo. I said earlier that my Nexus was the slate color. This is actually the graphite color. The slate color is a slightly different shade, so I'm sorry about that mistake as well. So overall, of course, both of these are great buys. I will have the full review coming up. I hope I gave you guys some ideas with the comparisons and my impressions of the phones. Obviously, the other things I'm going to have to give in the full review because not a lot you can say just from unboxing them. But overall, I like both devices, and the feel feels really good. I don't think this phone feels too cheap. A lot of people said it feels cheap. It just feels cheap in comparison to this one. If you're holding this one in your hand, this is going to feel cheaper because it's plastic and it's a lot lighter. But at the end of the day, I really like both of these phones. If you guys have any questions for me, throw them down below in the comments. I'll try to get to them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, give me the thumbs up below. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also check out my social media links at Twitter and Google+, at the links in the description. You can check out news.highandandroid.com and dopetechdaily.com for great Android news and more great tech giveaways. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.